Still got a bit of time just before the Iqamah. A question came online and I would like to address it. As we know that these days, first 10 days of Hijjah, are great days in the sight of Allah. They are better even than the last 10 nights of Ramadan. So many people are not aware of this. You could see that from the turn up to the masajid during these days. They're not as much as the last 10 nights of Ramadan. First 10 days are much better. They are not comparable to the last 10 nights of Ramadan because they contain two great days, the day of Arafah and the day of Al-Adha, which is the best of days in the sight of Allah, in which we need to increase in our takbir and sadaqat, tasbih and tahmeed and tahleel, all of that. And when we make this tahleel and tasbih, we will be even making better than the jihad in the sake of Allah. As the Prophet ﷺ, he said, ما من أيام العمل الصالح أحب فيها إلى الله من هذه الأيام. There is no other days upon which the righteous deeds to be performed more rewardable than the righteous deeds which are performed in those days. ولا الجهاد في سبيل الله, even jihad في سبيل الله, fighting for the sake of Allah, even jihad for the sake of Allah. Except for a person who goes with his money and himself and he returns with neither. It means he was a martyr and he lost his wealth for the sake of Allah in jihad, and that's very rare. This is the one who is better. Ikhwani, also in those days called the day of Arafah. Day of Arafah is a great day. It needs just in itself about an explanation what is the immaculate day of Arafah, where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala frees people from the hellfire more than any day, more than Ramadan, more than Ataf al-Qadr. Frees in the people of the day of Arafah more than anywhere. He would make them to be free from the hellfire. If you are free from the hellfire, you are in paradise. Those who are pilgrims, it is not recommended for them to fast the day. But those who are pilgrims, Hajjaj, they're not, because that's their Eid day. They should not be fasting. They should be focusing upon making dua. As for those ones who are non-pilgrims like us, it's recommended upon us to fast that day. So much that the Prophet ﷺ, he said that fasting the day of Arafah will expiate a year in the past and will expiate a year in the future. That means 2 years. But we know that this day of Arafah, this time, is coming and synchronizing with a day of As-Sabt, which is the day of Saturday. Fasting, Ikhwani, the day of Saturday is controversial when it comes to voluntary, when it comes not to obligatory. The scholars, of course, they said if it's obligatory, they have consensus. You could fast Saturday, no problem, except like if it is the compensation for day of Ramadan. Bismillah. Like the compensation for the day of Ramadan, or like making a vow, or like making expiation for an oath, that sort of thing, no problem to fast the Saturday. But it's a voluntary, which is like the day of Arafah. In such circumstances, the hadith of the Prophet ﷺ, which is authenticated by the Sheikh Al-Albani rahimahullah, and that is لا تصوموا يوم السبت إلا فيما افترض عليكم. Do not fast As-Sabt except if it is obligatory upon you. Even if someone does not find anything to break his fast with, except for the wooden stick or even the skin of the grape, then let him chew on it in order to break his fast. Now, the scholars regarding the fast of the Sabt are of three opinions. One says it doesn't matter, you could fast it involuntary, no problem. I'm talking about the voluntary fast. One, they said, no, you fast the day before or day after. One, they said you don't fast it, the last one, because of the hadith. If this hadith is authentic, then this hadith says don't fast the Sabt. And Allah will compensate you for fasting that day by recording it like you fasted. Because you normally fast it, but it came now on a Sabt synchronized. It's like the day of Al-Ithnain. Somebody fasting Al-Ithnain and Khamis. Al-Ithnain happens to be the day of the Eid. Would you fast Al-Ithnain? You don't fast Al-Ithnain. Why? Because it happens to be what? The day of Al-Eid. Same thing here. As-Sabt, it had to be the day of Arafah. Sabt here, Messenger of Allah said, don't fast it. But all in all, if a person is convinced with the sayings of other scholars, alhamdulillah. But we saying what we believe is correct, and that's the opinion of a number of scholars. One of them, our Sheikh Al-Albani, rahmatullahi alayhi. Subhanakallah bihamdik, ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta, astaghfiruka wa atubu ilaik. Jazakumullahu khairan wa barakallahu fikum.